let's start with the award show. How does that go when you're on the red carpet, and what's the evening like for you?
Well, I think leading up to the event, I made sure that I had all of my looks planned out, and I had agreed to sign with Vixen the whole time, and they were doing a big
Yeah.
Fleshlight collab as well with AVN. So I was a facilitator in that. I was the one that recommended that Fleshlight go to AVN. So I'm really happy that they had like such an awesome group of girls there. So I was really looking forward to signing all week. And I know with my duties as hosting the show, I was supposed to, be very professional and on top of my game. But, as things go, I definitely was definitely stressed. So,
But you don't seem to me to be a stressful person. Where does that come from?
well, it was just a lot of pressure. Everyone who asked me to host the show, I've known for the last few years, and they think very highly of me. So I didn't want to do anything that would affect that. But I knew I was capable of doing it, and I just needed some reassurance. So a couple days before the big show, I definitely sat down and was like, okay, nothing bad's gonna happen if I just mess up my words. Like, who cares? I can just restart
Right,
it. Everybody in the audience already
right,
knows me, so it's not a huge humiliation thing.
right. But then you do the red carpet. There's probably an hour before the show actually starts, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah, so I did a dress change. So initially we came to our dressing room and I was in my red carpet gown, which was the blue, and it had this really nice rhinestone detailing. It was very Cinderella. So I was in that one, and my co-star Alex, she also had a dress change. So we tried to make sure that we didn't look the
Right.
same, and we did so good. We didn't look the same at all. So that was actually really fun. I think my favorite part was doing the dress change because I knew everybody had already seen me in the blue, and my second dress was from like the thighs down, just all pink ostrich feathers. So I was so excited to put that dress on, and I snuck out and took pictures with my parents in the first dress. And I was like, I have to go back. I have to go back. So I didn't get to walk the like main big line of all the fans, just because they had a section to the back. And then they would just like skirt us in. So that was one thing that I wish I could have done, but there was literally no time for me to do it. But there were a lot of fans that were upset with me. I didn't see you on the red carpet. You didn't walk. And I'm like, no, I did. Just at the part where we were doing interviews.
Right. So you're doing interviews on the red carpet?
So they had different podcasts and different YouTube shows, and there were I think they had like 12 or 15 different like interview slots open.
Yeah.
So once you enter in the red carpet with all the fans, it was kind of like a little quarter-mile walk down to
Right.
the main set of all the photographers who just do everyone's stop and goes. So luckily we got to do that first with Tony, me and Alex. So we didn't have to like go back through, but then we get shuffled into the next room, which is all the interviews. So we tried to do most of them, but obviously we can't we can't hog up every camera. So
You finish all of that. At what point does it actually hit you that you're getting ready to host the award show? The time's getting closer, and they're telling you 5 minutes or something, or
yeah, well,
is there any panic at that point?
Jason Derulo was the guest star, so he was backstage in his room. So that was kind of crazy. Me and Alex sitting in our room, and Jason Derulo's across the way. But after we did the interviews, we came back, and they were so amazing and gave us this little charcuterie board that had some little like tapas type of things and some nuts and fruit just to keep us satiated.
Yeah.
And so then I switched over and Alex switched over, and we just sat there and we're like, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. And we had practice at rehearsal very well, very well. We were very thorough with our arm directions, which way we were going to speak. And we did have that moment where we got to like go back around and say, hey guys, we're up here. So we had to practice that as well. But I think Alex was more nervous than me. Her English isn't her first language, so there was a few lines in the rehearsal that we needed to just
Right.
fix because we don't write the scripts ourselves. Actually, there's an amazing head script writer who's in charge of the dialogue during the show. So that was also another pressure lifted off my chest. I didn't have to like say my own jokes.
Right.
We definitely modified it a little bit. And in rehearsal, they actually mixed up which award I had won. Our show producer, Gary, he thought I had won Best Anal. And I said, Gary, I've never done an anal scene. Clearly, you're not like in the
Right.
mix of the industry and, you're just in
Right.
the AVN show bubble. Otherwise, you would know that. Everyone and their mom knows that. So that was funny. I was like, yeah, one day, but no, let's switch it to a different award, please.
We had a joke about that on our side about Blake doing an anal scene. And the joke was like, how many zeros are connected to the first offer? But,
That is true. That is true. I have shopped it around and I know the max amount of what people have been paid before just through investigating on my own. So
okay.
I think there's definitely room for improvement, but I'm a residuals girl. So
Well, that and you're at 1 billion views now on Pornhub? You're over
am
a half a billion. I don't know. I'm asking you. I don't keep track of that shit.
I don't know.
So
I
I'm
know
sorry.
I'm top 40. I think I was like 32 the last time I checked, but that's relative to the stuff that's posted on that website. I wouldn't
No,
say it's necessarily
but
a
it's a
good
good,
gauge on like who's actively, in the main
no,
top.
but it's a good negotiating thing when you're going to negotiate the zeros.
I don't know. I've never had to say that ever. I just say this is my price for this. If that doesn't work for you, then
Tomorrow will be
let
more.
me know for another project.
And
So
you brought up a point. Let's jump off. You've won 10 AVN awards, I'm guessing,
yes,
2012.
I have 10 downstairs right now. So there's a
And
few other that are not my personal wins, but are just like Grand Reel or some other, DVD
right.
awards.
And I
So
guess
it's more, but I like 10.
the show starts. At what point do you become comfortable in the show of the groove of it? I've got this. It's going good. It's going to be fine.
I was comfortable during rehearsals. I'm not a stranger to the stage. I've been up and um, presented two different awards before and then also gave my own single speech when I handed off Best New Starlet. So I'm not scared of public speaking. I was more worried about the social implications it would have. I didn't want to become this person that is like unreachable or unattainable to people. I didn't want anybody to think, oh, wow, now she's hosting AVN. And I'm pretty sure I'm the youngest person to ever host. So I didn't want it to come across as, maybe like I didn't deserve it or just the public, I don't know. As much as I am myself, I do soften my edges because I do want to be liked. And it's a big fear of me for my industry to cancel me or to kick me out or, find me not compatible to be a part of anymore. So I was truly scared that this is going to be make or break if people see me as like a normal girl, or is it going to turn into, kind of what Violet and Angela and Kazumi, some of the other girls who are at like 1 million followers, most of the people that are in agencies are terrified to reach out to them. They feel like, oh, I would never work with her. I would never like be able to do a scene with her. Why? Because I hosted AVN, because I have AVN Awards? What does that have to do with us doing a lesbian scene today? It has nothing to do with it. So this idea of like clout that we create, it's a very volatile, it's very volatile. One day you're like the hottest shit. The next day you're known as a catty fucking cunt. So I don't ever want to come across as someone who is not here for the people and someone that is just like greedy. I really wasn't like, look at me, I'm AVN House. I was like, this is our AVN show. We are hosting this. This is not about me. I'm already up there, okay? I already have 2 features up for Grand Reels, so y'all are gonna see me twice already. And then I ended up winning one and being on stage with Octavia. So that also made me feel really fucking bad because I'm like, oh my God, I'm already up here. They're gonna be pissed that I'm winning again. But I don't have any choices in who wins. So that's all I can say.
I'm not asking on my own behalf. I'm asking on performers, other performers. You've won 10 AVN awards without doing an anal or a DP. How did you do that?
You know what? I truly think that the way that I had set up my boundaries in the beginning are really the only reason why I'm still able to do what I'm doing. But I'm also somebody that is very clever. So if I can't walk through this door, you're gonna bet your ass I'm gonna walk that house and find a window to get in somehow.
Right.
So there's certain gives in the industry, right? Like you give a lot of yourself away, and
Right.
I give a lot of my performance away. I give a lot of my like
Right.
personal true self, and I think that translates into my scenes, and why they're
Right.
so impactful to those who are
Right.
watching is because I'm genuinely there. And granted, it's taken me 5 years to get to this point where I can lock in and just click into
Right.
Blake mode. But definitely in the beginning, it was very rocky. I had to do a lot of discovering. I'm still
Right.
not sure about my sexual identity. There's so many people that are so beautiful, and then I find out they're trans, or maybe I find a guy that I
Right.
really like and they're gay, and I'm like, damn, but I still would have sex with you. So what does that make me?
Right.
Like, who am I?
Right.
So it's been an interesting process from the beginning, but overall, I would say that I really only attach myself to things that I know I can do very well. I'm very comfortable in what I excel at, and so I don't like to get out of that,
And I
right?
don't know. I don't know for Blake how difficult it is having your entire life displayed everywhere, basically 24 hours a day. And part of it to me was you were either in a relationship or you stopped, or I don't know what the hell happened. You're
Right.
dating
No, we're
somebody you
separated
didn't.
now.
But were you surprised that it got that? Because it seemed like it was breaking news. These 2 people, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry to
Yeah,
hear
but
these
you
two
know
people
what?
broke up, but
Even people from my real life were like, who the fuck would abandon you at a restaurant? Who the fuck would do that? And I'm like, guys, you don't know half of the context of some of this stuff. So I've definitely learned my lesson. I will not be posting any more
right.
drama.
But you aside from the business perspective, and you're obviously he's a performer and you're a performer, and from my perspective, I would have not just been like, but okay, it was 2 people dating and they stopped dating. But people seem to put more into it than it was.
Oh yes, they're very obsessed with us. It's been a very I enjoyed it, when it was happening. I really liked the fans enjoyed that we were both porn stars or we
Right.
are, and
Right.
that we were okay working with other people. That's because most people have very deep jealousy and insecurity,
Right.
so they have that block of being able to handle their partner being with somebody else. But yeah, I think it's a rite of passage for everyone in the industry to get
All right.
intertwined.
Personal stuff aside, from a business perspective, did you have to take up more of the Blake thing? Because I always thought you guys had worked together on everything.
We did a lot. There's probably 10 or 11 scenes of us. And then we also did 3 scenes for this private European company, Lustery. So that one's specifically, that whole company is real couples having real sex. So they saw us and was like, oh my God, this is perfect. They already know what to do. But I think it's just the way the industry goes. It's the ebb and
And,
flow. I didn't
and
have less work, but I didn't like try to work more because I was in a relationship. I just try to do my my
and
normal
and
allowance.
business and everything aside, at that point, does Blake decide I'm not dating anybody for 6 months, or I'm going to do my own thing for a little while? Are you comfortable
Oh,
on your own, I guess? Or do you have
no,
to be in a
I've
relationship?
never been comfortable. Why do you think I made Blake? Why do you think I made this person so that I could always have people to talk to, always have people liking me? So I think in my personal life, I am on a journey of rediscovering who I am because a lot of my identity is wrapped up in porn and in my persona as Blake. But I just view her as the best version of myself. So I tried to leave all my
Right?
issues in the private
Right.
life, not
But then
let the fans know.
at this moment, is Blake on the market? Is Blake looking to
Yes,
date?
yes, I am.
Is Blake what?
Yeah, sure, you can say. I'm open to romance. I don't really close myself off to stuff. Like I said, I don't even know like my sexuality. I still haven't done I haven't had sex with a girl off camera ever. Like ever. I've made out with a girl off camera maybe less than I can count on my hand.
Right.
Kissing, for photos or whatever, like that doesn't affect me, but I'm scared of deep rejection, so that's why I don't date women. I could be rejected by a guy and be like, whatever, fuck you, but if a gorgeous woman rejected me,
But are you insecure because she's a gorgeous woman?
I think I know I get validation and love from men, but sometimes I don't get that from women. It's hit or miss. Sometimes I get along, sometimes I don't, but I almost get along with every single guy. But most women, I try, I'm a very golden retriever person. I come across as like a sorority girl, a cheerleader. I'm very open and friendly and I want to talk. And sometimes it just doesn't work. Doesn't work with girls.
Do you intimidate them?
Am I gonna date them? I
No,
mean,
do you intimidate them?
possibly. I figured out that I do remind some people of like their high school bullies or like an ex-girlfriend or somebody that hurt them. I trigger them. I almost make them think back to when they were a young person or, maybe was going through a hard time and being like, damn, this fucking hot, sexy blonde girl I went to school with, she was so fucking evil to me. This girl's got to be evil. So I'm like, fuck, I don't even have a chance to like prove myself wrong or, give me a fair shot is what I always say to people. Like, you might think you know who I am because of how I like to portray myself, but deep down, that's a different lady.
And have you had any of your teachers or people from the classmates join your OnlyFans? I mean, I know people use handles and shit.
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. It's whatever. If you want to join and see something nice, like sure, okay, like come and say, like it's who am I to say like what you can't say? But when somebody in the beginning there were people that were trying to like blackmail me and I'm like, you can Google me. Google that
Right,
puss, baby. I don't know what you're worried
right.
about with this little Snapchat. So
Eh,
people would try to get me in trouble with my mom and dad.
Have you had a lot of people on social media brag that they banged a famous porn star before she was famous?
No, no, I haven't seen anyone I've fucked say that. I think A, they might not believe them, or be like, B, yeah, she fucks everybody. Like you're not special. So it could go either way.
For sake of discussion, if you were to date a civilian, to me, the guy must be terrified because you're good looking regardless whether what business you're in, and you've got a whole lot more sexual experience than the dude will ever have in his life.
Right.
So if he should get lucky at the end of the evening, is he expecting Blake sex? Is he expecting you sex? Is how does
It's
all that
it's
play
funny
out?
you say that because someone the other day just told me they're from another country and they said you have two accents and I was like, no, I don't. I just
Right,
speak like American English, like pretty California,
right.
Arizona slang. But they said no, you have like a Blake accent. And I was like, when I talk like this? And
And
that's right, because as myself, I talk very open and a lot of
right,
inflections and very sing-songy and with my hands. But when I'm Blake, I'm much more aware of my facial expressions, exerting certain muscles. It's more about like protecting my true feelings whenever I'm Blake. But I mean, I do like to go back and forth. Sometimes I don't like being Blake. She's just too sexy, too aggressive, and it's just not, it's good for certain scenarios, but when I want to be more down to earth and homely and get back to my roots as like a human, I can't be in like sex world all day and like pervy, fucked up scenarios. It's not good for me.
But if you should hook up with a civilian and have sex, are you planning on fucking or are you looking for intimacy?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes when I'm looking for intimacy, I go to sex because I think that's the quickest way to intimacy. But recently I've had some interesting intimate moments that have actually made me rethink, oh, I thought I was this girl and this is interesting. Why am I getting so affected by this new thing? Why am I being affected by romantic things? Usually I'm like, okay, let's get in, fuck me, let's go. Sushi or whatever. So that buildup of the romance, I've experienced it lately. And I used to be scared of it, but now I'm rethinking it. Maybe I do need that to just feel more secure. Because when we're on set, it's like, okay, I have 2 hours with you and then deuces. But
Have you had a
the
lot?
intimacy does imply that there's going to be multiple encounters. So I don't do intimate things with anybody that I don't see myself. Like I would never say I love you to someone or, let somebody come and sleep in my house or in my bed. That's just certain intimate things. Maybe call me by my real name. That's a big one that really freaks me out. I don't like when people fuck me and they don't call me Blake. It's weird.
But when you meet a civilian, at what point do you say, okay, I'm Blake, I'm not Blake anymore, I'm the real person? When does, I guess, that trust come into the situation? That's obviously I'm guessing not the first. You meet somebody in the grocery store, and for sake of discussion, they have no idea who the fuck Blake Blossom is. There's this hot blonde in front of me in the grocery store, and I'm gonna go talk to her.
Yeah.
Are you approaching him as Blake? Is he expecting, like, I'm Cindy for sake of discussion, or Judy, whatever? How do those dynamics work out?
I definitely introduce myself as Blake more often now, just because it avoids confusion. And sometimes people that I don't want them to know my real name find out my real name, and then they just feel like they're entitled to call me that. And I'm like, oh no, I'm Blake to you, buddy. I'm So I think if it was, see, my problem is I just rushed into fucking civilians and then I don't actually get to know them. So I don't even give them a chance to know me. Because at the end of the day, they do want Blake. Like they don't necessarily want like a depressed, mess of a person that's me on the inside. And obviously I'm growing and figuring out my own, spiritual journey that I'm on now. But I also would feel very, 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 very guilty bringing a civilian into this lifestyle. I would feel really bad. Because jealousy starts when you're a kid and it builds up. So if you grew up as being a very jealous person and you can't find a way to get over that, I mean, I could tell you till I'm blue in the face, I only like you and I only care about you. I'm just doing this because of my career and my money. But if that person doesn't want to understand, it's just not going to work. So maybe a civilian who's like a swinger or somebody with very, very strong emotional intelligence, but it's few and far between.
Do you ever find yourself getting lost in a Blake character?
Oh yeah, my first 2 years, I didn't even use my real name. I wanted to be Blake so bad. I wanted to just escape my broke ass Arizona life. I wanted to go be the hot, sexy blonde girl out in Vegas and LA. And it it definitely served its purpose at the time. I think it allowed me to really dive deeper into my character as Blake. Because I am, even though I'm different characters and scenes, I'm still like the same. It's like the same word, different font. I'm still Blake. It's just like bold Blake, or maybe it's italicized Blake, or maybe it's French Blake. I don't know, but it's still me, and I have those core parts of my performance that I carry through each scene.
But a scene aside, is there something that happens and you're like, wait a minute, I'm not really Blake, I'm Judy. Does that ever happen? Well, you really, you go back to your birth given name.
I do wear no makeup, and I don't really do my hair. I like put it up in a bun or tie it back. I don't do like my hair at all. I don't blow dry it if I'm not really working. So I think the makeup and the hair and part of the beautification process, it allows me to shift into Blake more. Whereas when I don't have like, lashes or my hair done, or like, I had really bad acne for the first 3 years I was in the industry. So I was not comfortable not wearing makeup. I was like, I need to cover this up, or somebody's going to see it. Somebody's going to see me.
What do you do when you get tired of Blake?
Well, I was just in LA for like 10 days, and we shot this big feature for Digital Playground, and it was out of my normal character. I was an FBI agent investigating a serial killer out in New Mexico. So it was definitely out of my comfort zone as far as female characters, but just being out there and working every single day for 10 days, I forget I have parents, I forget I have a house, I forget I have to pay my fucking credit cards. And part of that's ADHD. I need visual cues and lists to help me stay organized, but I completely forget about everything else in my life, any other drama, any stress I'm going through. So it's a great, if you've seen Severance, when they go down in the elevator and they turn into like their work self, I feel like that's me. I truly just like, just leave it all back there. I have to be Blake now. It's all about compartmentalization. You have to be able to separate who you are as a person and maybe your morals and ethics, and realize that this is film. And there are people in mainstream that play all types of villains and fucked up people and murderers and whatever, but they do that in a way that protects their real psyche. It's just, it's acting. And porn blurs the lines of acting and your true self. So I always joke that I'm two people, and sometimes people don't like that because they're like, what do you mean you're two people? Like, you're crazy? How many personalities do you have up in there? I don't know. I'm a different person when I'm Blake. I really am.
From going to the AVN Awards and to hosting him, what's the difference?
There's a big difference. There's a chance to not work for a week straight when you're not signing, but I dedicate most of my AVN week to 8-hour signing days. And then I barely ate, I barely drank any water. I was really, really focused on just delivering the best Blake experience I could. And of course, I signed next to Maitland Ward and fucking Brandy Love. So I was like, this is so much pressure. Oh my God. Like, Maitland and Brandy are right here. Like, I have to just keep it going. Let's keep going. Just be kind. But I'm a talker, so I develop deep friendships with people at these AVN Awards. So I have the same people that come back to me every single day of the expo.
Yeah.
But hosting is more about being able to be, like that little polish of the AVN logo. Like, you just want to, it just adds a little bit of shine. It doesn't it doesn't necessarily change my career. It's just another thing to add on to my belt or like my resume. But I would host again. It's just a lot. It's a lot of mental mental stress because I was like, fuck, everybody's either gonna love me or hate me.
How did the whole thing come up in the first place? At what point in 2024, like, did you get an email, somebody call you and say, hey, do you want to do this?
Actually, I was in France shooting my first Boy Boy Girl with Julia Grandi. It was that day, and I had a full-on panic attack like during the scene because my pelvic floor had cramped up.
Yeah.
And I had asked them, oh my God, like, guys, give me some fucking ibuprofen, anything. And they say, oh, yeah, here's American medicine because everybody is either Russian, Hungarian, or Ukrainian. So they don't like have Tylenol and ibuprofen the way we do. So I was like, yeah, give me 4 because ibuprofen to me is 200 milligrams.
No.
Well, it turned out to be 500 extra strength Tylenol. So I took 4 of those on an empty stomach. And so then I had a panic attack that I was going to die. And then I was in France and I said, I can't speak French. I can't go to the urgent care. I don't know. Spanish, I could be like, okay,
Right.
understand kind of what they're saying, but French, no way. So after that stressful ass day, I mean, we got the scene done. I just had to calm down my brain. I was so like, oh my God, this is my first time on camera. I want it to be perfect. I'm in France. If I fuck this up, and then having a panic attack in front of these foreign people who have not experienced being on set with me before and then watching me freak the fuck out. But after that, I was like still riding a high. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And I was just sitting out on the same area, like in the scene, like that ocean. I was looking out into the ocean and I get a phone call from Gary, who leads the show. He said, hey, Blake, yeah, can I talk to you? And I'm like, fuck, they're going to take one of my awards. What did I do? Shit. I said, fuck, they're going to take something away, or I did something like, oh no. So he said, no, I actually just have something to ask you. Do you want to host the AVN Awards next year? And I said, are you serious? Me? Are you sure? And he laughed. He was like, what do you mean, am I sure? I wouldn't have asked you if I wasn't sure. And he's like, I got Tony on the other line, the CEO. I got Tony on the other line. Hold on. So he patched me in, and they had asked if I was interested in it. And I was just so blown away that I had reached this level. I mean, before 5 years, I was being asked to host AVN. And this was something that I thought took 15, 20 years to possibly work towards. And here I am being asked. And I mean, in my personal opinion, I feel like I was the only person that they were thinking of. So that made me feel really good. That damn, I really did make the right choice in joining the industry and really giving it my all. Because sometimes lately I've been kind of thinking about what could have happened. Who would I be as a woman if I wasn't in the industry?
Who would you be?
That's the thing, is I don't know. I literally created Blake to run away from my nannying life. I had no money. I was watching other people's children for 15, 16 hours a day. Granted, I loved it, but I would just go back to my mom's house in Arizona and just like smoke weed all night, just feeling sorry about myself. And I was addicted to Tinder and just like this huge pit of like just needing male validation. So, I mean, it's very natural that I found my way to the industry. I definitely wish I could change some of my approaches to conversations. I definitely had a lot of anxiety and still like lingering depression in the first couple months. So, yes, that will affect you once you run away to be another girl.
You get the phone call, you agree to do it. When does the panic set in for you?
I didn't panic at all. I truly just like had it in the back of my mind. And this year they brought back the nomination, or the summer party, the AVN house party, they might call it. But they said, we're going to announce you then. And prior they had announced Kazumi, Luna, and Emily just a few weeks before, maybe 2 months, if that. So I said, damn, I have 6 months of time to just think about this. And of course, I waited to the last minute to get my dress. I literally went the Sunday
Right.
before and just like bought them at the same store. But I'm trying to be the type of person that I make a decision and then I let the good things come to me. I try not to control every aspect of it because that just makes me
Right.
pissed off when it doesn't happen.
Right. You're at the party, they announce you. What's the reaction amongst your peers?
I mean, everybody was just like, no fucking way. Like, just, I didn't even think that I would be an option because I am so young and I'm not that I'm like a veteran of the industry already, but I am a very popular talent for lots of people to work with. So I literally could not stop talking the whole party. It was like, hi, yes, hi, yes, hi, yes, hi, yes. Okay, let me come back to you. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
I didn't even have time to just properly say hello and greet people and just be thankful that a lot of people came to the party because, camaraderie in our community can be tense at times. So everybody kind of sucks it up and comes to AVN. So regardless if you have beef, you're going to come party at the AVN party.
We're in a business that loves blondes. You've been in this for 5 years, and you haven't really slipped in popularity. If anything, you've gone up. Well, to the AVN Awards.
Yes.
What keeps you there? That level of popularity.
I think it's definitely consistency. I don't do scenes that I don't like. I don't work with male talents I don't like. I recently started doing FEMDOM, but that was my idea. I wanted to do that. So I was the one that reached out to Kink and said, "Hey, I want to do Divine Bitches."
Yeah.
Like I hired this he's a professional submissive. His name is Marcelo. Many people know him in the industry because he is not only like a teacher, but he also facilitates a very positive BDSM message. And in the category of BDSM, I'm not really sadistic. I still have my little Blake vibe. And I had a fan tell me the other day, I've gotten into femdom because of you, Blake. I did not like it before, but nobody does it the way that you do it. Because I do it with a sense of like love for the person. I'm not sadistic. Like Penny Barber, she's sadistic. She'll bite the fuck out of your dick. She doesn't give a shit. She'll, Princess Donna, she'll beat your ass. Like they just don't give
Right.
a fuck. Me, I'm like, okay, like, are you enjoying this? Do you want more? Do you want less? I'm definitely what they call a service top. But also there's not a lot of girls that look like me with no tattoos, no piercings, no implants, no BBL that like doing more hardcore stuff like that without it being anal. Like I'll do squirting, but I don't find it enjoyable for me. So why would I do something if I don't enjoy it? I'd rather just get fucked by
Right.
this guy for 20 minutes. Like why do I have to fucking squirt? For me in my brain, it doesn't bring me there.
About a mainstream movie in 2024.
Um, Technically I was in two.
Okay,
I
we
guess
saw two
scissors. If
mainstream
you're
movies in
thinking
20.
about scissors, yes, scissors is the big
Oh no,
one.
I
The
wasn't
porn
counting
star
scissors. I'm
cast.
sorry. I was
Well,
thinking of the other one.
Dead Janitors Club.
Is that the thing you did with Robert Ryan?
Yeah, with Robert. Yeah, that one's based off a book. It's called The Dead Janitors Club. It's about a crime scene cleanup guy in LA, and he basically wrote this book about his experience, and it's pretty crazy. So I got a small little cameo. We did one version with tits out, one version with tits in, but yeah, Corpsey's great. I got Giselle in that too. She fucking
Hey.
massages Jake Busey's back.
And was that comparing that to scissors? Obviously, one's more adult related than the other one. Did you have a preference to
Right.
the two? I mean, I don't know that much about scissors. I don't know if it was shot like a porn.
Kind of, yeah. It's the guy who wrote and directed it is Harry Sparks. So Harry
Right.
Sparks also writes and directs for Elegant Angel, Adult Time. So it definitely the style of shooting was more to like an adult set. James Bartholet was also a producer on that. So he was also there on set, and majority of the people in that are porn stars. So Misty, Katie, Lily, Avery. So versus actually, well, see, in Dead Janitors Club, Robert did put Ginger Lynn in there. So it was so fun to like be around her because I'm like, I know you. I know you. I know you so well.
Right. Yeah, it
But
was. Go ahead,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
it's definitely different. It's different. They were just so on top of it. It was further than like a Vixen or a Brazzers set with they because I am topless at one point, so they just wanted to make sure I was very comfortable, and they had me change in the bathroom, and I was like, okay.
Right.
As we're like, because my scene we film in like a sex shop, so when I walked in, I was like, oh my god, let's find my DVDs. I was like, is my flashlight here?
Right.
And I did have stuff there. My actual DVDs were in the shop, so everybody was like, okay, like this isn't just some like random girl. So
Right.
everybody was very, very, very friendly to me. So I was like, who wants to take pictures?
But how cool or weird is it for you to walk into a sex shop and see all your stuff there?
I would hope to see it there. I would be fucking pissed off. I'd be like, do you not order from Adult Empire? Like I have a list of stuff
No.
we need to order from them.
And are you doing custom work on? I always ask, but I'm curious if Crazy Rich got her custom was on OnlyFans.
Yes, yes. I actually there's like 3 scripts right now that I don't want to do, but I agreed to it, so I'm like, all right, like I'll just procrastinate. But there's certain things that I don't do. Like I don't like any like incestual insinuations. I don't care if it's like I'm gonna cheat on you and blackmail. That
Right.
doesn't necessarily harm me, but anytime someone says I look like their sister or their daughter, or I remind them of a family member, and I just have to remind them, okay, well, you're on an OnlyFans, so why are you
Right.
telling me that I look like your sister? Restrict, restricted account.
Right.
Yeah,
But
that's a little much.
we talked about the highest points of 2024. How comfortable are you talking about the lower points of 2024? Anything?
Sure, yeah, I can talk about what's been going on. I think I'm at a place mentally where I won't get upset. I won't
Uh,
cry.
Somebody close to you passed away.
Yes, my younger brother did. He was unfortunately, I have to say allegedly, but allegedly murdered. Um, I know in my heart he was murdered, but the police are the police, and I still don't have my police report, so we'll see when that happens. But it's been over a year. He passed away March 2nd, 2 weeks before his 21st birthday. So we were in the midst of planning all that, and my mom and dad were gonna fly out, and he was actually living in Las Vegas. He was only in Las Vegas for about 17 days before he was killed. But he just, I'm not trying to blame him or anything, but he did make a lot of bad choices and withhold a lot of things, and those were done out of fear and shame. So I resonate with him on why he made those decisions. It just hurts so bad that I wasn't able to help him. But I will say that since losing him, I feel like a completely different person. And I never really understood, like in movies or TV, like I didn't resonate with that storyline of somebody like losing their sister. I'm like, oh, well, I don't even have a sister, so whatever. Oh, my brother's going to be around forever, so like, why do I have to worry about that? But it's navigating grief. Like my grandfather died 6 years ago, the day before his birthday, 6 years ago this year. So it's very interesting that the 2 people I've lost have passed around their birthdays. So it's kind of put a deep fear into my mind that I don't want to die around my birthday. If you get some other time, universe, let me know. Give me a heads up, please. But, that's always too much to ask for. But I think now I'm more observant of just the world. And not that I was wearing rose-colored glasses, but I just saw what I wanted to see. I only put things in my life that made me feel good. And I made things super comfortable and, was in this amazing relationship. And then all of a sudden, my little brother gets taken away and we didn't even know like really what happened. We had to have some medical examiners get together to investigate because they originally said he killed himself. And I was like, nope, that would never happen. And based with all the evidence that they gave us, it's very, very confusing. So hopefully one day, I've been thinking about it. I'm like, should I, not that I like want to do like a recreation of things that happened that night to him that we can prove and that are facts, but it's a very good learning lesson for other like young men, but yeah, I got to be careful who your kids hang out with, and you need to ask some questions. We didn't really ask him a lot of questions just because, he's 20 and I started porn when I was 20. So I was dating 56-year-old dudes and, sucking dick on the internet and, oh my God, crazy stuff that my parents were like, what is going on here? So to look back, I didn't have a handle on the grief until about Halloween. And then I went to my psychiatrist because I've been seeing a psychiatrist since before I was in porn. I dealt with anxiety and depression before. So obviously this industry can exacerbate certain parts of your personality that you don't necessarily want to highlight.
Right.
So yes, I've definitely learned a lot. And the recent, just a couple weeks ago, not even like 2 weeks ago, was the day, his birthday.
Right.
And then we cremated him 2 days after his birthday because that's fucked. I was like, I'm not going to cremate him on his birthday. Like, no.
Right.
We just keep saying that he was totally robbed. He really had such an amazing life. And, someone took advantage of him and promised him all these things and didn't want him to leave.
And he obviously knew about your career. What was his thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
he knew. Oh yeah, he literally came and was my assistant at AVN like 3 years ago when me and Dan had first like seen each other from across the room. My brother was there. He literally was there. I have pictures with him. If you took pictures with me at like the 2023 AVNs, that was my brother taking that picture. So it's good that he was part of my life, but I also feel like very guilty that I set like a bad example that it's okay to like go hang out with like older people and not be very honest with your parents. So I feel like I blame myself for not being a better sister in a lot of ways. And because I was so involved in being Blake, like I said, I forget that I have parents. I forget that I have a brother. I forget that I have a whole life in Arizona. So I feel like in my journey of trying to find Blake that I really kicked my true self to the curb. And along with that went my relationship with my dad, because I didn't tell him I was in the industry for 4 years. And then, all this stuff happens. It's very interesting.
You have something of your brother, you look at it, reminds you.
Yeah, I have my brother. We split up his ashes, so I have 2 urns downstairs. I have like a big one that has like crystals around it and some other stuff, and then I have like another little mini one that's by my front door because the last time I saw him was I think 2 days after Valentine's Day. So he was living in Las Vegas for like 3 days at that point. He had moved there the day before Valentine's. So he was coming to my house to give me my Valentine's gift from my mom. And my mom had given me this little brown paper bag with like his swim shorts and like the Roku remote and like a couple of things that I like needed to give to him. So he comes over, he gives me the Valentine's Day stuff and he leaves. And yeah, that was the last time I saw him, was literally downstairs, like in my house at my front door. But
Have you consciously changed the way you do certain things now as a result of what happened there?
yeah, when I come home, I go, hey, I'm home, because I know he's there. It freaks Dan out. We still live together
Right.
at the moment, so he kind of he's like, oh, you're talking to your brother, and I'm like, yeah, I am.
And
So, but oh, that's what I was saying about the bag. So he was supposed to come back in like a couple days to come get this bag, and he never came and got the fucking bag. So I still have that bag with the swim shorts and the Roku like near my front door. And then we went and saw like the first like It movie when it came out. We went and saw it like 5 times in fucking theaters. So I have like a DVD of It, and then this other movie that we used to watch on like our little DVD player as kids is
right.
called Milo and Otis. It's like a little pug and this orange cat go on like an adventure and they talk. But we loved that fucking movie when we were kids, so I have both of those there. And yeah, and then I do have some of his hair we did cut off because he had longer hair, so yeah, so I cut some of that off. So that's really the only thing that I look at pretty often is his hair and his urns. But
And you mentioned Halloween. You kind of did something happen at that point that kind of kicked it back in your head?
yeah, I had gone to France for 2 weeks at the end of June, and it was really, really hard. It was really, really, really hard just to not have anxiety. And my anxiety manifests in different ways. So it could be my body is physically sick or, mental, whatever the fuck is going on.
Right.
But around Halloween, I had decided like I need to go back and talk to a doctor because what I'm doing now is not helping me. And I'm getting in these loops of just like thinking about the same thing over and over, like the paranoia. So goes back to, the anxiety and depression and my ADHD. I write all these things down. I'm so upset. I'm so upset. And then I just look at it and then I'm just like, fuck, I think all these things and I feel bad for myself. And then the cycle starts over. But I definitely feel like I don't care. I'm very open about like taking antidepressants. I took antidepressants. I was on like 5 different pills for like the first 6 months because I started my like reset January of 2020 because I said this is going to be my fucking year. This is going to be my year. I'm going to reset. I'm going to get my mind where it needs to be. And then the day after my birthday, I made my OnlyFans. And then like a month later, I was doing pro. So I definitely realized that being on the antidepressants when I first got in really helped me solidify what I wanted. And it really made me think through every single decision that I was about to make because I was already in such a low ass point. So I'm like, fuck, well, if I like do porn, like, oh my God, like I'm going to ruin my life and I'm not going to have any friends. And then everybody's going to see me naked. So it led into that negative spiral. But I find that sometimes you just need like a little help. Like there's obviously journaling and in-person therapy, Zoom you can do. You can fucking fuck all the guys you want, but it's not going to make you happy. Trust me, I tried.
Do you remember the first time you went to your shrink and you basically said, I'm now a porn star? Like, how does that come up in a discussion with the shrink? Like, what do they say to that?
Right. Well, I don't necessarily have a shrink. I have a psychiatrist.
Well, okay.
So he specifically, no, that's okay. There's people don't know the difference, but my doctor, I've had 3 different doctors that have been helping me prescribe stuff, and they're amazing. Like I understand like why their job is so hard because these people come with problems and it's like, okay, well, I mean, I can help you talk through this, but do you need something to sleep? Do you need something to eat? You need to like fix the chemicals that are fucked up going on in here. There's only so much yoga and fucking spiritual transcendency can
Right.
get you. So unless you're doing like an ayahuasca trip, a shrooms trip, you're doing a huge mental reset.
Right.
I think having a little bit of a help is definitely beneficial. And I think my fans
Right.
have realized that something's seriously going on with me, and they're very worried. And I don't want to make people concerned about me when I'm supposed to be their point of enjoyment in the day. I'm supposed to be their person of relief, kind of like how I watch people on YouTube do funny shit or stupid reviews.
Right.
I, I, so I never hate on anybody for, admitting they have mental
Oh
issues
no,
or need
God
some
bless you. It
help.
takes balls and it takes guts. But I would,
Yeah. But
on
half
that
the battle
subject,
is recognizing that,
right.
hey, like, I'm doing
Yes.
something that's negatively affecting the people
Right.
around me.
Two things. I'll say one thing first. Just from a psychologist perspective, these guys have heard women, whatever, have heard everything there is to hear. And then a woman comes in and basically says she has these problems, but now she's decided to get in the adult business. I would just be curious what the response to that would be. Like, did you think that would help you? Did you think so?
Yeah, people always ask me, like our medic on set asked me because I was having such great conversations with her, and she says, "Why do you do porn? I feel like you could be so successful, like just doing other
Right.
stuff." And I think for me, like why I feel so comfortable in porn and why it's really my thing is because I make it my thing.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it, but I also dedicate a lot of my life to it. I really enjoy being Blake. Some girls, they don't
Right.
enjoy their porn lives because
No.
you guys are throwing up and pissing and like doing extreme stuff on set. Like no wonder you don't want to go to no wonder you don't want to work
Right.
because you're like having to exert yourself and push your boundaries and in different ways. And majority of girls are struggling for money and they're not necessarily going to say no to doing something. Maybe they'll negotiate and say, well, I don't really like that. Could I maybe do this? But there's not a lot of control for them. So that's one thing that I really prioritize is control over my work and my conversations with people. I don't want to be on set with somebody that's like, I don't like.
Right.
I'm like, I can't be around fucking weirdos who like are just weird as shit. I can't. Fucks with my
Right.
pussy.
The other thing is, if we can be honest with you, and I'll be happy to cut this part out if you want me to. There were parts of 2024 and when Gordon and I saw you and you were not a happy camper.
Yeah.
And we could tell the difference. We could tell like, and we're kind of worried. It's like, because you're an energy person. You're always, you're there, but you were just way down, like way
Yes.
down. And we were just like, she best not stay there very long. It's not a healthy thing.
Right,
So,
right. And that's one thing that really happened around Halloween was like, hey, you do not know how to grieve. You need to have some like little thing to just take the edge off. And I
right,
didn't want to become like addicted to drugs or alcohol as well because that's often an avenue that people turn down
right,
when they're upset. And I said, fuck, I have all this goddamn pressure on me. I can't be an
right,
alcoholic as
right,
much as I want to be. And I hate alcohol, but I was like, should I do drugs? Should I like drink? Am I
right,
missing something? Like, what is everybody like enjoying about this stuff?
right.
Because it only makes me feel bad. I think I'm just high on my own supply most of the time. But that's one thing that I really, really, really didn't like about myself the last 6 months is that I was allowing my deeper feelings to be, visible on my sleeve. And people would be like, what's wrong? And I'm like, you don't want to know.
Oh no, well, the other thing is, I can just speak for Gordon and myself. We've always tried to not get in people's personal business.
hmm
If someone wants to discuss something, it's one thing. But I was never comfortable walking over to somebody, it's like, hey, you look like shit and you're angry. Are you okay? And they turn around and typically and explode on you. And it's not, and
Yeah.
I understand after the fact, like it's not that they're angry at you. They're
hmm
just in a place where if you push that the wrong way, it's going to blow up on you.
Yeah, I,
You
I
know,
don't care. I ask people, I'm like, what's wrong? Or I'll slide in and be like,
yeah.
do we have a problem? Hey, so what's going on here?
There
But
was a
I don't know. I think the times that you guys did see me were times when, like, the big events that we have in the industry, there's always like, drama around
right,
it or who's taking who, and
right,
so sometimes it can bleed over into the event, and then people start, punching each
right.
other. Like, remember XRCO and those two guys like
Yes.
punched each other? I was like, what's going on here? Guys, like, we're at XRCO. Like, what? And actually, I was talking to the 1995 Best New Starlet. She still exists in the industry. She does set design and she's won multiple
Yes.
AVNs for that. But she won Best New Starlet, and I think with like the next 5 years after that, like the next four Best New Starlets after her, they all killed themselves. So that's like what I don't want to happen. I do not want my fucking picture up on goddamn moratorium on fucking AVN. Everybody, oh, Blake, we love her. I like, fuck, guys.
But fast forward to right now, in the last 36 months, we've had a bunch of people die. Did the
Right?
business put that much pressure on them from your experience? Did they have pre-existing conditions? I mean, August, super nice lady, but I got the impression, how am I going to stay out of trouble with this discussion? I got the impression it was because of social media bashing.
Right. That it was the big thing that many
Yeah,
people believe that led to her,
right.
unfortunately doing that. But yeah, that was specifically because she didn't want to work with a crossover performer, and many of the people
Yeah,
were very, very inflammatory towards her, and you know what? That's what I don't want to happen to me, is maybe I go through something and I'm not at the right mental capacity to really handle that situation in the right way and possibly make a forever decision. So that's why I think it's really, really important for people to talk about stuff that's going on with them, even if they say it like I'm not gonna get into like details
go
with
ahead.
people sometimes, but I'll just be like, hey, this is going on for me. Like,
Right,
can we not do that? Like this
right,
this last movie where I'm a serial killer, or and where I'm investigating a
yeah,
serial killer, that felt like getting justice because I was solving the crime, and
yeah,
it made me feel better inside. Like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking get this guy. Whereas I think if the roles were reversed and I was the killer, similar to like Iris, which I had shot like 2 weeks before my brother died when I was a serial killer, I don't think I could do that role in the same way. I feel like I would be emotionally affected by that.
but at what point in Blake's life did you learn to turn off letting negativity on social media affect you? Or have you?
Well, I think it affects me. I just don't let it show. Like I'm somebody that likes to read comments because I myself am a very strong critic about people, so I'd like to see the discourse of like, okay, well, what's your opinion? Okay, agree to disagree. I love that about the industry, is that I might not be your cup of tea, but guess what? There's 3,000 other girls and
Right.
videos out there that are exactly your cup of tea. So, yeah.
Should there be more help within the business trying to educate people as far as girls, as far as
No, I think
avoiding social media buzz? Or
no, it's already too late. Too late. No, when somebody is making the choice to get into the industry, that is your point of, hey, we need to do a mental evaluation on this person. So that goes to all the agents and all the fucking people who are picking up
right,
these OnlyFans girls. You really need to do your own psych evaluation on people. Granted, like, if you already have them booked on set and they just need to fuck, like, that's on you for not doing your due diligence. But I feel like there should be a shift into not just letting anybody join. Like, literally, like, at this point, they kind of let anybody join. So these people who are like, I want to be a porn star. Okay, give them 2 years and an OnlyFans and a camera, and they might be on set with you as like an extra. Or, you know, now they have a POV site and they get one agent who fucking starts sending girls over there, and now they have a website, right? Oh gosh.
But do agents in this community in general, do we have a responsibility to look out for people coming in?
Yes, you do. Why would you put a girl on your agency who cuts herself and drinks fucking alcohol every day? Why would you want her to be in this industry? I literally don't get it. Why would you want somebody who is engaging in self-harm, who is engaging in drug and alcohol abuse? Like, granted, there's people who deal with alcoholism or, you know, addiction, and it comes across differently. But if you have somebody who's obviously very like a fucking problem, and all you're doing is saying, oh yeah, let's book that girl, she's from Michigan, let's get her down here for a month. Okay. Oh my God. They don't realize that. And then the girls come. There is this one girl before Motley got disorganized. I don't give a fuck. You can keep this in. But she literally came to set with me and she said, oh yeah, the first time I flew out here, they said, oh, I wouldn't have signed you if I knew you had that little chip in your tooth. So guess what she did? Even though she's a mother with a young child with a future, she thought it was so important that she needed to go spend $40,000 on veneers. $40,000. Do you know how that's literally a whole bachelor's degree at ASU for me is $40,000. That's 4 years of college for somebody that's like taking care of a child for that long. So they have power to really fuck with people. And I don't get swayed like when people, oh, you should do that, you should do that. I'd be like, the fuck, bitch. Like, unless it's my idea, I'm not gonna do it. Like, I've gotten filler, I've gotten my nose done, I've never done anything to my teeth, like, and there's been plenty of times when people are like, oh, you should do this, or oh, you should do that. And I'm like, people can say whatever they want about like Riley from Hussey, but Riley doesn't, like, he's never told me I need to go do this and I need to go do that. He kind of lets you figure it out on your own. He can help you where he needs to help you, but he is not the dictator that some other people are. And granted, there's things that we ask for, you know, as agents or producers or people who are hiring scenes. You know, we want specific type of people for certain scenes, but we're not really doing a check of like, is this person mentally fit to be here, or is she going to have a breakdown on set? Or if she brings a little stuffed animal and is in her mid-30s and clutching onto the little stuffed animal, okay, maybe we don't have this person do a fucking piss gangbang today. Regardless of the money, we need to really do a better job of like analyzing somebody who wants to do porn. Okay, so let's analyze you. Okay, well, here's what I feel like your strengths are. Here's where I feel like if you, for whatever goal you want, right? Like if you want to be a porn star and work for studios, you have to work backwards. You can't like work up to it. So you have to think of, who do I want to be? Do I want to be a porn star? Do I want to be a cam girl? Do I want to be an OnlyFans girl? Do I want to be like a content creator and come up with my own stuff and have a website? Do I want to be a stripper? Do I want to be an escort and have clients, not even do camera? You have to figure out what your vibe is, because if you try to do all six, you're going to be stretched so thin and nobody's going to know who the fuck you are. Like, there's, how many cam girls are there? Millions, and I don't know any of their names. I don't know what people want from the industry anymore. I really don't. Because if you want money, why are you doing anything on camera? Like, why? Like, why are you doing that? There's so many girls that make
a lot of new ones want to be influencers, and they can't spell Bob, much less influence.
Right. So then you have to think of like, what's
the polite way to tell them to get lost?
What skills do you have that you want to help other people gain? Like, what are you influencing? I don't like what you're influencing girls to be more hoes. I don't really think that's positive. I don't think the porn influencer is really needed as in terms of like, go be a hoe, go be a influence.
Like what? The only thing you should influence is your own life. You should make your life better.
Right. Like on my other phone, my
Right,
screensaver is remember the reason you're doing this. It's to make your life better.
right.
And I don't know if people need like a strong talking to and just like a fucking reality check. Like, look, you have 10,000 in your savings. If you were to get hurt or in the hospital, like you're fucked. So being able to set up someone for success is the first part of joining the industry. Okay, yeah, we can all fucking suck in anybody. We can buy the way we look. I can easily go buy hair. I can go dye my hair. I can go buy a new nose. I can go buy new teeth. I can buy a new fucking pussy. I can do whatever.
Yeah.
But the foundational stuff of who you are and the things you want from the industry, like that is so key. And there's no like workbook or program that asks you those questions. Like, why am I in porn? Why do I feel the need to have sex with all these people?
Care in the business. I
Right.
didn't say you, I said people in the business don't care. It's a sad statement to make, but it's the truth.
Yeah, they're going to have a drive-by career. Oh, there they are. There they went.
The other problem is we've had this with people who passed away. We can try and help you all day. If nothing sticks in your head or you ignore everything we just said, I can't necessarily feel sorry for you when you fail.
Right. And that's one of my flaws as a person is that I don't want to see anybody fail. So if I can interject and help, I will. So it's a good thing and a bad thing because I do jump in and help people when they don't necessarily need a helping hand. But I think of, damn, if I was reaching up and I was fucking struggling, I would want someone to fucking pull me out. At least reach a hand down and say, I might be able to help you. I'm not going to pull you all the way the fuck up, but like I can at least be a hand there for you to hold. So there's definitely a shift since AVN. We have multiple different girls chats of all the performers. There's multiple different people. I'm the admin of one of them. So even if people get chatty in there, I'm like, free speech is free speech. Who cares? Who cares if she disagrees with you? And okay, then if you don't want to work with her, then don't work with her. But she has the right to say her truth. That's her experience. Oh, well, I had a great experience with that guy. Okay, that's your experience. That's your truth. We don't know what happened that day. All we have is the testimony of her. And if she feels courageous enough to come and bring us this testimonial that A, might make her look stupid, like, hey guys, I fucked up. I made all these bad choices. And B, it just kind of makes everybody just like freak the fuck out. So I like the girls' chats that there's more accountability. But what I'm noticing in the last week or so is some people can't stomach the thought that some of these guys and girls and trans, everybody, there's some people that just are on their best behavior around certain performers. I don't really have issues with a lot of people because they know I don't fuck around. Yeah. But if you go to set with somebody that like isn't really as strict as me, I mean, it's up for grabs of what's going to happen. So all I can say is to make your own opinions and take every situation and experience you hear with a grain of salt. They didn't like that I said that either. And they're like, so you're saying take my experience with a grain of salt? Yeah, I am, because I don't know you and you could be lying. I don't like, I'm just supposed to take your word because you have a vagina. That's not how this works. This is not a feminist radical fucking cult.
Superstars in general, do you have a responsibility to the next generation to help them coming up, girls?
No, I think if they want to succeed, it's already in them. They just need to find that power. You can't really like give someone the drive to like want to be famous, I guess. Like that has to come from like from deep inside. I don't know. Fuck, that really pisses me off that people are getting asked to do DP. And that's the thing. I am a business-minded person. to do DP would ruin my fucking business. I have no like, what do they call it? Negotiation. I have no negotiation because, oh, we already did it. Why would we pay you $25,000 for an anal scene when you just did it like 5 scenes for some weird company? So it really comes back down to you need to figure out what you want. If you want to make $1 million in 5 years, okay, break that down. How much do I need to make every year? Okay, how much do I need to save every year? Okay, well, am I going to move to LA now? Okay, fuck. Am I going to have to drive now? I know lots of people who don't even know how to drive and they're in porn. I'm like, where'd you live? New York? That's the only fucking excuse you have is if you don't know how to drive, it's because you lived in New York City.
Right.
Because it's being in the adult industry, you have to be an adult. You have to be able to take care of your own health. You have to take care of your own finances. You have to take care of your own lodgings. Like, and some of these young girls have never had a real job. Right, right. And, you know, I used to be a nanny, so I understand like what the implications could be if somebody gets hurt. If I get hurt myself, like this child's going to be alone all day. Or if I do something wrong, if I'm negligent, then now I affect all these other people's lives. So that's something that stays with you. You're always worried about comfortability. Where's everybody at? And when you're just like a 19, 20-year-old girl just saying, I want $100,000 so I can buy a Porsche, or I want a Range Rover, and I want a watch, and I want all these materialistic things, you'll get there. Trust me, you'll get the things. But does it feel good? Does it feel good the way you got that? I don't know. I like earning my money. I don't like blood money. No. I don't like dirty money.
What's the rest of 2025 look like for you? I mean, it's only a third done, but is there something you want to do? Is there something?
Yeah. I've started, I have 2 of my own production companies. So I have like a BDSM FEMDOM production company that I'm in the works of creating. I just, you know, I have so many crazy ideas, and I have my regular like production company for my own stuff. So hopefully I can bust out some more of my own scripts. But I really am excited for Mystery Kink to come out. We're going to have a demo be able to play on Steam soon. And it's crazy because the new PlayStation, or is it PlayStation or Xbox? I think it's Xbox. But I think Xbox is actually going to have Steam part of it as like part on the remote. So not only do you not need like a desktop, now you can play these adult games on an Xbox. So it's definitely making me think of not jumping ship of the industry, but shifting gears into a more gaming forward in like presence. I would like to have a presence in the gaming and in community, but I also want to have a YouTube. But you know, it's as soon as I open myself up to the public and random people find me and be like, "This girl's a whore." Yeah, but I'm making chicken noodle soup today on my cooking channel, so I'm not a whore right now. So just, you know. So I've been debating, like, do I even want to be like Blake on YouTube, or do I just want to be Hottie B? Hottie B. Hey guys, I'm Hottie B, or whatever. Like not even like overlap. But I don't want it to be misconstrued as I'm farming for, you know, people in other ways, like the TikTok. Oh, I'm doing a try-on haul of the clothes, and I'm like, you don't give a fuck about fashion. You don't care about fashion, girl. You just want these men.
They get the followers, but they don't understand why they get the. I have 2 million followers today. Okay, so how do you monetize that? I don't know. I didn't think about that. I just want
they buy followers. I don't believe anybody in their followers. I've never bought followers, and I'm like, damn, it took me 5 years to build up to. I'm at like 740K. So I'm getting close to 1 million, but I mean, it fluctuates by like 10,000 every day because of all the bots and whatever the fuck they're doing. But I'm definitely just gonna reset as a single woman, and I've been saying it's not a loss, it's a redirection. So I never try to live in the past and live in regret and feel bad about decisions I made. Because in that moment, I felt okay making it. So looking back, having regret doesn't do anything for me except gives me depression. So I'm on a new journey to the new me, but still
Meet,
me.
meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Right, right. Just, I think to be really sad for a long period of time makes you want to be happy for the rest of your life. And that's what I wake up thinking, like, dang, like, is this going to be a happy day or a sad day? And it's okay if it's a sad day because tomorrow I could have a happy day. But yes, lots of pressure to do anal and do crazy stuff. And I don't feel the need to do it. I really don't. I don't enjoy it in my personal life. I don't find anybody that makes me feel comfortable enough to let fuck in my ass. Like, I can barely bleed on someone if I'm on my period and it's like a pro set and like everybody
And
knows it's okay, but I still feel like
you spend a lot of time you getting more and more into the Blake character,
right.
but you seem very, very adamant about protecting the other character, and I was curious as to why.
I think that there's a part of me that really likes being Blake and being able to live freely and be able to, do different things that my normal personality self wouldn't necessarily make the step into doing. So I think by being in porn, it's kind of given me the safe space to explore different things. But I do like to protect my true self just because I feel like I don't want to lose that part of me and the morals and the ethics that I do have from growing up. And porn kind of makes you, very,
No,
very desensitized.
I
So
I call it jaded, but you can't make desensitized. Um,
desensitized is better.
sorry, no, the FEMDOM thing. Were you in the FEMDOM before you decided to start the company?
Not necessarily. I think it was something that I viewed as another road to take when deciding what I want to do next. And so it's either, adding more guys, adding on your ass, or some other niche category that you can kind of really monopolized. So there's nobody that really looks like me, with no tattoos, no piercings, blonde hair, young girl that is into doing domination, of men and female, not specifically just men, but it's definitely something that I've gotten good at. I think that's just out of wanting to control situations that I maybe didn't have control over in the first place. So by doing the femdom seems I'm like winning a piece of that power back.
And have you worked with Glenn King or anything in Vegas as far as
I
FEMDOM?
have, yes. So I've been on Mean Bitches twice. I did the first time I worked with Jack Vegas because Glenn had just gotten he had like a detached retina. So he was having some issues and wasn't able to film. So I got paired up with Jack Vegas, who I had never worked with before. And they're both so nice. And so it kind of took me a second to stop being so jokey and laughing and be more serious and mean. And I asked him, like, why are we not doing BTS? And he's like, well, you're too nice. Like, we don't, we don't need BTS of you being nice. We only do BTS of like the real bitches. So the first one I did with him was super fun. It was just a hand job situation. And, I forget what the plot was, but the second time I did work with Glenn directly, and he wrote this funny script where my sugar daddy passed away, and his estate attorney basically has a meeting with me, and I kind of bully him into giving me more than what my dead sugar daddy allotted for me. So that was much more fun because I've never like had a sugar daddy per se like that. So just that level of, like what would it be like if I really did have a sugar daddy that was fucking old? Like, what would I say if now that he's gone and I was an ungrateful little bitch? Like, what would I say to him? So that was very, it was different than the first one, but I like it. He likes me, so it's easy to be mean to him.
And this specific femdoming, I guess the right way to say that. Do you have a specific niche you like? The financial one, the ball
I'm
busting? I don't
not
know.
too big on the financial domination. I think my personally, I like to be like in a set situation where we have a scenario, a story that's going on. I'm the inflictor, and then there's someone there being inflicted upon. I kind of need the camera there to get into my character, but I'm definitely more of a seductress versus a sadist. I'd say a true sadist would be like Penny Barber. She'll bite the fuck out of you. She doesn't care. Like, she wants to make sure that it hurts. And because she likes it to hurt and she wants to know that you're feeling the pain. Where I'm more of a service top, seductress type of approach to the femdom nature, I guess. I don't do things out of the bottom's like range of capabilities. I don't really try to like push boundaries or stuff like that. So I like to operate on very clear boundaries because it's part of my psyche is that I want you to feel good and that I want to do what you want me to do. And sometimes I'll stray and being a little more sadistic and bringing some of that anger can definitely add like pops of intensity to my femdom stuff, but I try to have a different approach than like, fuck you, I hate you, bitch. I'm gonna hurt
Yeah.
you. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna make it hurt, but you're gonna
Right.
also be confused on whether you like it or not.
And do your things go into sex at all? Like, have you peg
They
guys or done
do.
anything?
Yes. When I did Divine Bitches for Kink, that was my kind of first introduction to doing a flip fuck situation where I would peg the male and then the male would also fuck me. So that was definitely interesting, but I do understand that most of the bottoms may not be like fully straight or they might be bi or gay. So I don't have any like preference on, how someone needs to get there to be able to come.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what do you want me to do?
But for you pegging a dude, do you enjoy it? Because you mentioned the sadistic side
Yeah.
of Penny. Does that side of you come out? Maybe there's something happened before that you got the guy bent over and now it's his turn?
Part of it is like the humiliation aspect of
Right.
like, because I am in porn and I have felt what it's like to be very submissive and vulnerable. So to have it like be reversed and say, now you bend over, bitch. Yeah, I'm about to fuck you. But what I realized is I fuck other people with strap-ons the way I like to be fucked. So I find myself like doing really weird, like funny stuff. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, why? But like, like crossing the arms and like,
Yeah.
doing like funny stuff like that. And I'm getting better at the dirty talk, but I think more of it is the physical dominance that I like to do. So I like to, lay my whole body weight or
Right.
to use the, audio visual cues of,
Right.
being super close, being out of focus, using the sensory deprivation tools. So if it's we're not using like any like props, I would say, and it's just that body on body domination. I think I thrive really well there, but obviously I need to get my technique down with some of the props.
Do you have you done any practice with spoken to anybody about props?
Oh yes, we did a few for the Divine Bitches. Lee Raven, she's the director for that. And so we did like electroshock, like little
Right.
shockers. We did like bondage. We did sensory deprivation. I actually got introduced to really liking clothespins. So that was my first time doing a zipper on somebody. And I've since done it again. So I really do like that type of stuff. I've done some bigger toys on people, but in my personal contents where I've dived into the the
Yeah.
body bag and
Yeah.
some of the other, needle play. And granted, some of the stuff I do off camera, obviously it's not
Off camera.
necessarily for camera,
Yeah.
but yes, it's been a fun journey.